How do we define correspondence? But before that, let's first consider this. Pairing the parts of one group to the parts of another group is called the correspondence. Correspondence uses the notation. This is called as correspond to. Ang basa natin dito is correspond to. Ang ibig sabihin nun, yung two figures ay correspond sa isa't isa. Meron silang equivalent partners. Let's consider this triangle MAP and triangle GU. Let's assume that triangle MAP, this triangle, coincide with triangle. When we say coincide, ang ibig sabihin nun, yung triangle, ay pag pinagsama natin sila, saktong-sakto. Magkalapat po sila. Walang overlapping, walang sobra. Saktong-sakto po sila sa isa't isa. Such that the vertices of triangle MAP is fit exactly the vertices of GU. So magiging coincide lamang po sila kung yung vertices ng triangle MAP ay katulad din po ng triangle G. Ibig sabihin nun, sakto yung kanilang pwesto. So in this case, we can map the two triangles by their correspondence. Paano po yun? Let's consider this as triangle map. Correspond to triangle G. Basta natin dito, triangle map. Correspond to triangle G. In this case, we have vertex M, which is ito po yun, correspond to vertex G. Ibig sabihin nun, yung katulad na pwesto ng vertex M ay para po kay G. Then we have vertex A ay para naman po kay E. At yung vertex P ay para naman po kay O. Sure? Ang bawat vertex sa kanila ay may katapat or saktong partner as the correspondence to each other. Maliwanag. How do we name congruent triangles? Remember that when we see congruent triangles, triangles must be coincide with each other. In naming congruent triangles, the order of the letters representing the vertices on the triangle shall be written on the same order as their corresponding vertices in the other triangle. So mahalaga po yung pwesto ng bawat isang letters for us to identify kung nasaan po ba ang kanilang corresponding vertex ng bawat isang triangle. So let's have again our triangle map and triangle G. Remember na yung vertex M dito nakapwesto sa left side. So pag hinanap mo ang kanyang magiging kapartner, dapat nandito rin sa left side. Ibig sabihin, yung M correspond to vertex G. Then yung A must correspond to vertex E, and yung P nasa right side ng isang triangle must also correspond to vertex O. So let's find out. In this correspondence, there are three pairs of corresponding vertices, angles, and sides. So dito po, given two triangles, meron tayong tatlong klaseng correspondence na ibibigay sa inyo, maipapakita sa inyo. That is according to vertex or vertices, angles, and sides of the given two triangles. Let's proceed to find for their vertices. We just simply, tulad ng ginawa ko kanina, find the corresponding parts of vertex M to the other triangle. So, ang kanyang corresponding part, same position, magkapare sila ng pwesto sa other triangle, that is point G. Kaya, ang basa natin dito, vertex M correspond to vertex G. Again, this is vertex M correspond to vertex G. Vertex A correspond to vertex E. Ito po yun. And we have vertex P correspond to vertex O. So, silang dalawa. Magkaka-partner po sila. Now, how about their angles? How can we identify their corresponding angles? Same lang. Kung saan nakapwesto yung kanilang angles sa one triangle, dapat yung pwesto ng other parts ng isang triangle, parehas din po sila ng position. So in this case, angle M correspond to angle G. Ibig sabihin, itong angle nito, which is angle M, ang kanyang kapartner is angle G. Kasi po, same position po sila. So, ang basa natin dito, angle M correspond to angle G. Next, we have angle A correspond to angle E. So, ibig sabihin nun, angle A correspond to angle G. So, silang dalawa mag-partner. And of course, we have angle P correspond to angle O. So, ibig sabihin nun, yung kapartner nito, angle P must correspond to angle O. Silang dalawa naman ang mag-partner. How about according to sides? To identify their corresponding sides, of course, ang titingnan natin yung kanilang sides. So, in this case, we have line segment MA, ito po yun, mula dito hanggang doon. That is correspond to line segment GE. So, same position po tayo. Then, line segment AP, ito naman po yun, correspond to line segment EO. So, same position. And of course, line segment MP, same position, correspond to line segment GO. Ganun lamang po, maghanap ng kanilang corresponding parts of a given triangle. So let's have this very important. Since the vertices of triangle MAP fit exactly with the vertices of triangle GO, therefore, triangle MAP and triangle GO are congruent. In symbol, pag sinulat po natin ito, triangle MAP congruent to triangle GO. Ibig sabihin nun, masasabi natin na yung dalawang triangle ay congruent dahil lahat ng kanilang corresponding vertices, angles, and sides are fit together. Para mas palalimin pa natin kung paano natin masasabi na ang dalawang triangles are congruent sa isa't isa, let's find out. Meron tayong tinatawag na CPCTC, or that is, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So, ito po yung isa sa pinakmadaling bahagi para ma-identify natin na ang dalawang triangles are congruent to each other. Ang ating po maging acronym is CPTC, which is equivalent to corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, let's go. Corresponding angles and their corresponding parts according to these two triangles must be identified. We need, of course, the definition, that is triangle MAP and triangle GO. Let's find out. We will. Conversely, If the corresponding parts, we have the word corresponding parts of two triangles are congruent, then the two triangles are congruent. Ibig sabihin nun, kung yung kanilang part dito ay katulad dito sa kabila, yung kanilang corresponding parts, then yung dalawang triangles are congruent. Let's find out. The corresponding angles are angle M correspond to angle G. Nasaan po yun? Ito po yung angle M correspond to angle G. Then we have angle A correspond to angle E. Kagaya ng ginawa natin kanina. Angle P correspond to angle O. So A and E, E and O. Now, according to sides, we have angle or side line segment NE. Again, ito po yun. Correspond to line segment GE. Dito naman sa part na to. Line segment AP correspond to line segment EO. So, ito naman po yun. And line segment MP correspond to line segment GO. Ganun lamang po maghanap ng corresponding parts. Now, if these corresponding parts are congruent to each other, let's have an example. Let's consider this as triangle cat congruent to triangle dog. Our task is to write down the pairs of corresponding parts of these two triangles, which is the triangle dog and triangle cat. Pero bago po yun, of course, our task is to find their corresponding angles and corresponding sides. We need the information that is very important for us to remember. In this given two triangles, kung mapapansin po natin, meron po silang arcs and tick marks. Makakatulong po sila for us to identify kung ano po ba or nasaan ang kanilang partners. In this case, these two triangles, yung angle considered as arcs. Pag nakita kayo ng arc, ang ibig sabihin nun, angle, represent for an angle. Kung meron dito yung angle D, ay meron ditong tatlong marks. So, hanapin po natin kanilang partner na meron din pong tatlong marks. Ibig sabihin nun, yung angle D must be congruent to angle C. Since magkaparehas po silang may tatlong marks, ang ibig sabihin nun, equal po sila. So, let's find out. We have your angle D is correspond to angle C. Another, we have here angle O. Saan yung angle O? Ito po yun. Must correspond to angle A. So, itong dalawa magka-partner according to angles. Ang pinag-uusapan po natin yung arcs. Then, of course, angle G must correspond to angle. So, ito naman po yun. Congruent po sila in the sense that their arcs are the same in number. So, tigda-dalawa po sila. Yan yung bilang, yun po yung kanilang dami ng, or yun po yung kanilang possible degree meters. Sometimes meron kasi mga arcs na binibigay sa atin. Minsan naman wala. So, depende po sa given informations. How about their corresponding sides? You have line segment CA. Where is that line segment CA? So, ito po. Punta doon. Of course, sa kabila, ganun din po, must correspond to DO. Kasi, same position tayo. Then, line segment CT, ito po yun, must also correspond to line segment DO, or DG rather. And of course, line segment, we have here line segment AT, nasaan yun? Nandito sa right side. Must correspond to line segment DOG. That is line segment OG. So, ganun lamang po mag-identify ng isang corresponding parts ng two given triangles if we want to find out kung sila po ba is congruent or not. Since yung atin pong given triangle cat and dogs ay sakto ang kanilang number of arcs and number of tick marks, and therefore we can say and we can conclude that triangle cat is congruent to triangle dog. yung triangle ka is also equals to triangle. In the sense that lahat po ng kanilang corresponding angles and sides are all equal. Let's consider this second example. Our task is to find their corresponding angles and corresponding sides of these two triangles. So, para sa atin, madali na po natin malaman kung ano po bang kanilang magiging corresponding parts. Hahanapin natin yung kanilang kapartner. So, we have here, in this case, yung vertex A, ang kanyang corresponding part ay yung vertex O kasi parehas po sila ng pwesto. Sila po yung patusok na bahagi. Then yung angle P or vertex P, ang kanilang kapartner is N. At yung S, kanyang kapartner is itself. Reflexive po yun. Now, let's find out. For your angle A, that is congruent to angle O. Bakit po? Kasi nga po, parehas po sila. Number of arcs. We have 1, 2, and 3. Ganon din po sa kabila. 1, 2, and 3. Pag sinabi natin congruent, equal, same in size and shapes. So dito po kasi walang nakalagay na degree measures, kaya ang nilagay po niya is markings to identify for us and to give us an idea that pag magkakaparehas ang bilang ng kanilang tick marks ay ang tawag po sa or arcs, we can consider them as congruent. Then for angle P must be congruent to angle N, and angle P is A is also congruent to angle NSO. Now, dito po, kung titingnan natin, ang kinoconsider niyang angle, ito po, yung PSA. Ginamit niya yung 3 letters. Pwede po yun kung gusto natin. O, ito po yun. Dalawa po sila. Then, NSO. Ito po yung NSO. So, ito naman po yung congruent din po sila kasi parehas po sila. Merong dalawang arc na ginamit po. Okay, let's find out. SA is congruent to line segment SO. So, ito po yun. SA at saka SO. Then, we have line segment PT is congruent to line segment NP. And that is not PT, that is PS. That is PS. Then, we have here, line segment AP is congruent to line segment ON. And therefore, since ang corresponding parts natin ay congruent sa isa't isa, tatandaan na pag congruent sila sa isa't isa, masasabi natin na ang dalawang triangle are congruent. And therefore, triangle PSA is congruent to triangle NSO in the sense that their corresponding angles and sides are all congruent. That's it.